Alright guys, good morning and welcome from Minsk. I'm back in the capital after my provincial adventures, but today we're going on another adventure to the southwest, just about 2 hours drive from Minsk. So join me on another journey as I take you into the past. Let's go, let's do this. Доброе утро. Два щитора, пожалуйста. Спасибо. Что? О, маска. Well guys, you're probably wondering what that is in front of me, and after a lot of debates and after a lot of suggestions from you over the last 2 years, I finally arrived. I finally come to Nesvizh Castle, which is about an hour and 40-minute drive southwest of Minsk. And this castle here has quite a lot of history attached to it. Formerly the seat of the Radziwill dynasty, who ruled here from the early 16th century right up to September 1939, when the Soviet army marched into western Belarus, then eastern Poland. What an absolutely amazing castle. And it has to be said, it is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I have to say, that is very beautiful and that is very, very impressive. So let's go inside, let's explore around this amazing castle. Once the prize of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. So one thing you notice about Nesvizh Castle here is the moat. There's a moat actually right around, that goes right around this castle, and it acted as a natural barrier, a natural protection against the various armies that besieged this castle down through the years, in particular the army of Sweden of Charles the 12th in 1706. And as you can see, it was operated by a series of sluice gates, and there are the original walls, and he had cannons placed on the ramparts against the besieging armies. And as I mentioned, this castle here was the seat of the Radziwill dynasty. Yeah, absolutely amazing, guys, to say the least. All right, let's go inside. Let's check it out a bit more. Absolutely amazing, guys. Check out this courtyard. As I mentioned, this castle here was built by the Radziwill family and was founded by a guy called Radziwill the Black. And how he actually inherited this estate, he married a local landlord's daughter, and he inherited this place as a dowry. Talk about good fortune. And his son, Radziwill the Beard, built a small wooden cabin on this site. And his son, Radziwill the Author, built this amazing castle. And it's been destroyed a number of times, and it's been rebuilt. And thankfully, it is with us today. Of course, the Swedish army, when they besieged the castle and they took it in 1706 during the Great Northern War, they ransacked the castle. They took a lot of the valuables, and for the next century, it became a military fortress, fell into ruin until the family returned from Berlin about 100 years later and refurbished and rebuilt this amazing castle. And it remained in the hands of the Radziwill family until September 1939, when the then head of the family was arrested by the NKVD and sent on a train to Moscow. And you can see why it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And you can see on top there, on top of the spire, on the way in, on the rampart, you can see the eagle of the Radziwill. This is my first time here, and I have to say, I'm completely overwhelmed. Один билет, пожалуйста.
Наличными?
Налично.
14,60.
Возьмите. Спасибо. Okay, we're now inside the castle, and we've had to put some plastic bags on my feet. This is the founder, Radziwill the Beard. So, this is here the bearded one of the founders of the dynasty, the Radziwill. And this is the author, the guy who built the castle. And of course, Radziwill the Black. And this here was the Star Hall, and this is where the main study area, the desks and the chairs, and right ahead of me is the prince's bedroom. Quite remarkable. And these are all the people associated with the family, the Radziwill. Check this out, guys. This is the main fireplace hall. This is all the original furniture. And you can see here many of the members of the Radziwill dynasty. And this lady here is Barbara. She was the Queen of Poland. And she married the King of Poland, King Sigismund. And there's a story about her, that she still haunts this castle. So all this here is actually the original furniture from Radziwill. This here, guys, was the dining room. This is the small dining room. Yeah, as I mentioned, the Radziwill, they occupied this castle for over 4.5 centuries. And they have actually left their mark here. You can actually see outside, out onto the courtyard. What a view. This place here was the White Ball Hall. And this is where they would entertain their guests. The banquets, after the banquets, they would dance in this hall. Look at the marble. Classical Greek. This guy here is Dominic Radziwill. Okay. And Dominic, quite of a sad story about him. Dominic actually was the seat of the family when Napoleon invaded Russia in 1812. And Napoleon made a promise to the local aristocrats that if they sided with him, they would restore the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And of course, that never happened. In 1813, the Russian army came back. The Radziwill, they lost the estate, and they were dispossessed for another 50 years, until this guy came along. And this is Wilhelm Radziwill. And Wilhelm was actually from the German part of the family. And he came back in 1865. He refurbished the castle with his wife Maria Dorota. And this is a painting of their wedding in Austria in 1857. So the Radziwill, they lost the castle twice. First to the Swedes, then to the Russians, and they got it back. However, during the time of the Russian occupation of the castle, the Russians took away a lot of the furniture, and Maria Dorota wrote letters to Tsar Nicholas II, and he brought back some of the furniture that was taken by the Russian soldiers. This here, guys, I'm right in what is known as the Headman Hall, and this is where the Radziwill would conduct their business affairs. The rows of seats, and if you can see here above me, above the table, the council table, this is the portrait of King Stanislaw Poniatowski, and he was the last king of Poland before the partition in 1795. He actually stayed here in this castle, and Stanislav felt very intimidated by the wealth of the Radziwill. Truly impressive. And Maria Dorota, the wife of Wilhelm, she refurbished the Headman Hall here. And I don't know if you can see this, but there's a sign above the door here, and it's written Bog nam radzi. It means God advises us in Polish. Look at the ceiling. This is all the original stucco on the ceilings. It's absolutely amazing. And we can see here, right above the door, on the left we have the coat of arms of the Radziwill, and on the right is the coat of arms of the Wisniewski, another very famous aristocratic family, and two of them were joined together in marriage. Check this place out. This place is absolutely amazing. This here is known as the Golden Hall, and it was one of the many rooms that were used to entertain guests. The chandelier is absolutely amazing. Check out the ceiling. It was used as a dance hall during the Soviet times, when it was a sanatorium. When the Germans before them took out the decorations, and it was all lovingly restored about 20 years ago. And we can see some of the original armour that was used in the 16th century. We're now entering. This is the huge hunting hall, and this is where the head of the family would come here, and he would impress his guests, because, as you know, at the aristocracy, hunting was obligatory. Men and the women, they hunted. And a few days before the hunt, the head of the family would get his groundkeepers, and they would come, they would go to the park and push the animals closer to the castle, so that the people in the hunt would catch a trophy. And as you can see, we have birds of prey, we have woodland grouse, reindeer, everywhere. And this is where the head of the family, Radziwill, especially Wilhelm, would bring his guests here, and they would seal the deal, a business deal. And here's an interesting story. Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, of course, who led Germany into the First World War, was entertained here, and he was a guest of the Radziwill. And you can see here in front the results of many a successful hunt. This is Albrecht Radziwill, and we can see here many woodland grouse and pheasant caught after a successful hunting trip. We've got 3 bears here. This, of course, is the beginning of the 20th century. And this is a bit further on, during the interwar period in the 1920s and 30s. Karel Radziwill, one of the last who held the seat here before 1939. Yeah, truly impressive. And this is the hall in the 1930s. Imagine all the hunting parties that were held here down through the years, right up to September 1939. This concludes our trip to Nesvizh Castle, and I have to say, guys, I was very, very impressed to go inside and to walk around the battlements and the moats and the surrounding areas in the park. Just want to say thank you very much, Natalia, for bringing me along here. Okay.
It was a pleasure for me.
Welcome. And anyway, so Natalia Dubrovskaya She's a guide here in Belarus, and what I will do is I will leave her links below in the video description. So from Nesvizh Castle, it's do svidania and do streci.